Yeah. sweet kiss how I live out. Now for go along, you take it from Peter today, Paul will take it from you tomorrow, mama. Sweet, sweet, living is sweet, oh, whether rich or poor. Boy, don't pray for long fellow, he can pray for long life. As long as they live, you know, the better we grow. Fine power is fine, oh, it can make you heavy. It's just like a brook, you know, it way to capsize. Sweet, sweet kiss how I live out. Not for go along. He won't be can eat it, or the preacher can eat it. Kiss how I live, kiss how I live, oh, sweet kiss how I live, oh. Not for go along. You take it from Peter today.
You are coming to the U.S. You suck this ambassador. I don't want to go and I don't want to give you the say. That he will tell you. You're who get more to talk. You don't talk. That he will tell you that you're coming to the U.S. You're not supposed to sack the ambassador till you go back. That he will tell you. No, no, I will not tell you. No, no, that he will tell you. That he will tell you that you're not supposed to tell the foreign minister girlfriend and prevent the permanent mission. Knowing that you're not Thomas Weah. No, no, that he will tell you. I will not tell you. No, no. That he will tell you that using that way says to handle nothing about a promise, no foreign policy experience, because you have to foot that he will tell you. No, no, I will not tell you. No, no, that he will tell you. That he will tell you that your government is weakening day by day. You can't see it. That he will tell you. No, no, I will not tell you. No, no, that he will tell you. That he will tell you that your people are sent, ask you to investigate them. After you have told the whole country, you will investigate them. They beg you to investigate them. Let me tell you to investigate them before you do it now. Let me tell you, Mr. President, I never told you to fire the ambassador 2 days before you arrived. Wanted to make you look awkward. So, whoever decide now, you be funny to the text. You and I know that ambassador content will not be alive. You will be over on your own. And the people you're coming with, most of them don't know the U.S. Now he will tell you. No, no, I will not tell you. No, no, now he will tell you. 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 You'll be over on your own. No, no, I will not tell you. No, no, now he will tell you.
The health sector is in crisis. The masses of the people are dying for curable diseases. 5 years along the line, they are reducing the budget of the health sector. In this year's budgetary appropriation, the health sector has received reduction of budgetary appropriation. The masses of the people are neglected and abandoned. 5 years along the line, the education sector is in status. 5 years along the line, the University of Liberia is in feculence. 5 years along the line, Federal Liberia. 5 years along the line, the 19,736 employees of the education sector of the Republic are subjected to 92 million, while the final ministry of 920 staffers have experienced astronomical budgetary increment from 60 million to 152 million.
Yo! 5 years government has failed us. Yo! Yo! Say enough is enough. Yo! Yo!
5 years along the line, more than 16,000 students at the University of Liberia, 1,759 employees at the University of Liberia continue to be subjected to 17 million Why the President of the Republic of Liberia, a single individual budget is increasing from 2 million to 5 million. 5 years along the line, there is nothing called happiness in the Republic of Liberia.
All looter of the state, yo.
5 years along the line, the legacy is corruption. If it is not 16 billion, it is 25 million. If it is not 25 million, it's the abuse of the 24.8 million intended for the national reform. And we are disappointed in the national legislature that they can come here and conspire against the Liberian people to backdate an agreement while the element Minister Weah was caught in the GSC report. But the elements here do not have the balls to bring that monster criminal to tax and subject him beyond the rusty bar. So 5 years along the line, we have come to inform the Liberian people, we have come to inform the national legislature that on July 26th, the Student Unification Party will boycott the July 26th and organize the masses of the Liberian people in the street to protest in demand of structural repair in their conditions and in demand of fixing the country because the country is not at the service of the Liberian people. In this life, fellow Liberians and fellow students, we will turn over to the Secretary General of the Student Unification Party. We will present the Chairman of the Student Unification Party. To present the petition of the Student Unification Party. We will legitimize the position of the Student Unification Party. Because we are about to take the masses of the people. Mana! Viva! Social justice academic freedom, viva! Where do? Comrades and friends, fellow Liberians, members of the Liberian Senate, fellow pressmen and women, from the inner sanctum of the Student Unification Party, we convey to you our fraternal greetings. And today we've come not just to demonstrate our dismay, not just to demonstrate our disappointment in the way the affairs of the Liberian society have been run for the last 5 years under the Weah stewardship, but we've come to say to the legislature as well that giving responsibility by the mass of the Liberian people to come here and to represent them means that you have to work in the best interest of the people by performing laws and policies that will improve their well-being or their welfare. But the last 5 years have been different. So a few days ago, by member of the 31st Central Committee and Politburo of the Student Unification Party, the chairman of the Student Unification Party gave a position statement on the issue of independence celebration this year. And we are very
clear the air. So welcome to Spoon Talk, man.
Thank you, guys. First of all, there are a lot of things happening in the country. Of all the things that are happening in the country, this very big platform chooses to discuss Joe Bugger flying in a private jet. To be honest, I'm a little disappointed.
You cannot be disappointed because we get lists of stuff that we are discussing.
Yeah,
but the first. No, Harry Costa. It's okay to be disappointed. But the first conversation here is private jet. So,
but because you've raised it, so I will speak to it.
Mm-hmm.
The trip was planned. I was actually supposed to be on the trip. But the reason I didn't make the trip is because of my impending trip to Liberia. So I could not go to Nigeria, come back to the States, and then go to Liberia on December 30th. That's why I did not make the trip. It was a carefully planned trip. It took a long time to plan this trip. We all know JNB doesn't travel quite a lot. He doesn't believe in unnecessary travels. And we also know for a fact that JNB is not a wealthy man, and he is not ashamed to say that. JNB cannot afford, and I will say this, and JNB takes pride in the fact that he's not a wealthy man because he didn't steal from government. JNB flew out of Liberia on a commercial flight. He flew out of Liberia on a commercial flight and got to Nigeria, to Lagos, Mohammed Murtala Airport. And in Nigeria, he's done a series of very high-profile meetings. Many of the people he's met with are people he already knows, people he cultivated relationships with during his years in public service. Some of the, Nigerians are very wealthy people. Private Nigerian citizens, not government officials, very wealthy. Some of their friends decided that, look, you're in Nigeria, you're our guest, you're coming to us, let me send a private jet to pick you up. Was JNB supposed to say, no, don't send me a private jet to pick me up?
You don't have right to use support to
Mr. Fagon, please let me speak. When you were speaking,
don't you say without asking me, my man.
When you were speaking, I did not speak. So JNB also appeared on the most listened to, most followed Nigerian TV show, The Morning Show. I have excerpts of the interview he did. Fantastic interview. I was very impressed with how much the Nigerian hosts of the show know about how incompetent and good for nothing the Weah government is, because the way they discuss the issues, I was very impressed. They're very knowledgeable. And so Joseph Boakai did not rent a private jet. These jets go for like $10,000 to $15,000 per hour, my man. That's a lot of money. JNB gets $800 from the government a month, and 35,000 Liberian dollars as pension. And he's a man of very modest means, and he does not make any apologies for that. He is ashamed of that. And anybody to try to make it look like he's committed a crime is ridiculous.
We're on the man internet. All right, maybe he will come back. Let me say this. Fagon, Dr. Richardson, Kev Hassan, Sentumani George, Mariah. Kev, go ahead. Go ahead. Maybe
something. JNB has been doing business with those business guys when he was in office. He said it. He said he know that. That his friends. He need to explain that part. So
let me finish. We'll ask the question. Go ahead.
This man who is a poor, but do have rich business guy who JB has been doing business with since he was in office.
Kev, let's stay with the issue with him.
Yeah, hold on 1 minute. Costa, go ahead. Go ahead, Costa.
Stanton Weatherspoon. If you're going to sit on your show and allow Kev, who knows nothing about Liberia, JNB has no business partners in Nigeria. JNB runs no company that he has business partners in Nigeria. You have to fact check your people, Stanton. You can't let Kev sit on there and say people who he's been doing business with. Where does Kev know that from? You have to challenge your people to give you facts. This is a very powerful platform. Stanton, listen.
Kev, listen.
I am a talk show host myself.
Hold on 1 minute. We have time to ask Costa a question because a lot of questions we must ask. But you will give the man a chance to explain how we got to this private jet, please. Costa, please continue.
This is a very big platform. You can't have people spewing lies, concocted fallacies. JNB does not own a company. He does not have business partners in Nigeria. JNB does not have money, and we are not ashamed of that. So for anybody to make it look like, oh, he got business partners, Kev, you sit on there, your president took $1.5 million and left the country for 48 days. You are the last person that should be talking about somebody flying on a private jet. And you find going, you are lying. 2017, when George Weah flew the OO planes, we never made an issue of it. Because those planes were just too old, and it was embarrassing to even make an issue of it. So it is not true. You mentioned that Henry Costa, particularly said Weah was wrong. Why would I be lying? I mean, they're talking about Weah flying Cessna, a 19 Cessna plane.
Eh?
Our word for we are flying no plane. No plane number 200. So you are wrong. I got scared for we are. So stand up what school. The plane Joe Parker flew in. If I had made a trip, I would have been on that plane too. And you think I would have just fly
So Pedro, I know you're in the car, probably you're going somewhere coming home. We have to ask you some questions before you leave.
No problem.
Yes, let me give Fagon a chance to go first. Fagon.
Well, I'm not going to ask Pedro.
Make a comment. I'm just giving you the time.
Yeah. The first thing, Joe Parker making $800 a month and 35,000 LD a month, as pronounced by you or announced by you here. You were joking with the Liberian people. Who passed it into law? It was the same Joe Parker. It was his government, because he thought he would have been president. That's point number one. George Weah did not pay him that. He offered to pay himself that before he left office. Point number two, you said that his wealthy friends told him in Nigeria, fly a private jet and come over to us. You are telling us, but you forget to know you run behind him for a sling car that his son bought for him. You talk about his sneakers that he wear on his foot. You go to the point where George Weah went to eat over there or there, and you think you're going to sit on this platform and tell Liberian people they don't have the right to ask who sent the jet and why they send the jet? Really? Is that the country you want to run tomorrow?
Is that your question, Vago?
His sneakers. You question it. But
is that your question?
No. I'm not going to give you a question. We're facing each other. You have your time to talk. I told you not to use my word Sopoto, S-O-P-O-T-O. You say I'm going to give you a chance. So give me a chance. You have been the one checkmating this president every day. And now today, the Liberian people wants you to tell them, we accept your story about him going to Mohammed Mutala. But you said to the Liberian people, his friends. And you forgot to know, when George Weah played soccer, he was the world's best. He was European best. He was 3 times Africa best. He was the friends of the Prince of Monaco, the Prime Minister of Italy, Berlusconi, the President of South Africa, Mandela. Should I continue? He had friends too. But you beat on him. Now your old man goes, and a friend sent a jet. My dear brother, what Liberia wants to know from you today, right now, who sent the private jet for JNB at Mohammed Mutala Airport, and why? And why? Who and why? If you can't don't waste our time.
So let's get Pedro the time to talk. Go ahead, Costa.
Who and why? Then we have a debate.
Eugene Vagon, you don't. It looks like you don't have anything serious to talk about. We're not going to tell you who sent the plane for Joe Walker. Joseph. Hold on, man. Don't interrupt me. I can be louder than you. I can be louder than you.
But go Costa the chance that Fagon.
Show some decorum, man. I'm not going to be antagonistic with you. Show some decorum.
Fagon.
What can I be able to do?
You told him not to interrupt, so give him the time. Let him answer you, please.
We will not be telling you who sent the private jet for Joe Walker.
Okay.
That's one. Point number two, George Weah is president of the Republic. When he flies private jets at our expense, we have the right to talk about it. When somebody sends a private jet to pick Joe Walker up in Nigeria, it is not the same issue. You're talking apple and oranges here. One person is using a friend's private jet as a private citizen, which is what Joe Walker is. George Weah is the president of the Republic using our money to fly a private jet. When he couldn't even buy you a good car, you were deputy minister, you drove an all smoky car, you said it yourself, but he was flying a private jet. So that's what you should be concerned about. So there's no issue here. It's none of your business whose private jet Joe Walker flies, because he is not your president, and you're probably not even going to vote for him to be president, and he will be president.
But you need to tell the Liberian people, I'm a Liberian. What do you
I don't care about you.
And
we're not going to tell you. Stanton, can we ask the next? Can I take the next question, please?
No, you finish talking. I got to come to
I'm done with Fagon.
Hold on 1 minute. Hold on 1 minute. Hold on. We'll get Fagon. Listen, we do have 2 questions each. Hold on, Fagon. We do have 2 questions or 2 comments we have to make if we have any. So let's give Fagon his second choice, please. Fagon, go ahead.
You see, this is the level of hypocrisy and arrogance with which these people come that keeps us where we are sitting today. We cannot move. When a person look at you and tell you as a Liberian citizen with a voting card that are all you, no explanation of who sent the jet and why, and that you are unserious, you are telling over 100,000 Liberian citizens that they do not have the right to know who sent the jet and why. And let me correct Henry Costa here publicly when he says this president is riding private jet. I started the debate by saying before he became president, the tapes will be available for you to listen to. How these guys were angry about people trying to interfere and influence the results of our elections by supporting George Weah. And at that stage, he said the man is a president. Well, let me tell you who Joe Barker is. Maybe Joe Barker have not told you. He is a candidate for president. And that is why we are entitled to information in order to help us make informed decisions. You cannot sit here and say, for us to discuss Joe Barker issue means we are unserious. If you cannot tell us who sent the jet and why, I think you'll find more unserious than the Liberian people. Because at the end of the day, if you say you don't owe us any explanation, then shut down your platform. Because in closing, I will say this to you. You are now saying that George Weah is president. Who is Joseph Boakai? Is he not candidate for president? You think we're going to elect pig in the bag? That's a joke, my friend.
Thank you for submitting, Honorable Fagon. Let's move on to whosoever have question or want to make comment while Costa is on the show. Do we have anyone? You want to come in?
Yeah,
Kev, come in, please.
Yeah, let me just write on what Fagon is saying. I don't think we're talking about now, because what Costa trying to put in the ears of the Liberian people now, but the campaign against this president before on the same thing they are doing now. That's why we're asking the question. So again, let me go back to what Costa talking about friends. He said friends while he was in office, not friends before he was in office. You're telling me a Liberian man in office get a business friend? I can tell you the reason George Manuel Weah become friends with Berlusconi because he played for AC Milan. Berlusconi was president of AC Milan, president of Italy.
Berlusconi. Don't chop up the man's name.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm not Italian.
Neither am I, but I know the man's name. Silvio Berlusconi.
But don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. So
I'm correcting you.
Yeah, I can tell you. I can tell you why he become friends. But tell us why JNB become friends with business people.
Look at the kind of China question. Why people become friends with people?
No, listen. Why he's in office?
Send them, man. I tired, man. I won't go, man.
No, you can't go, man. You can't go.
This kind of question here too ridiculous for my comfort. They people tell you why you become friends with your friends.
Listen.
Let the man finish, my man. Hold on, man.
When I talk about business, he said no. He says it's a lie. He said that his friend.
But Kev, there is a businessman on the trip bending our euros, so add that one in.
Exactly. So how can you be
from Nigeria and South Africa?
If
But Kev, can I ask two quick questions, real quick, Kev, and maybe it will help.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Maybe it will help. Let me ask us a question. So let's get back on track. I'm not going doing George Manuel Weah time when he was running. No, I'm talking about now. Costa, if you tell Fagon,
Liberia's former vice president, now opposition Unity Party political leader, Ambassador Joseph Nyuma Boakai, has vowed to transform Liberia when elected president in 2023. He stressed that the current government has brought misery and suffering to the Liberian people. The former VP outlined the platform of his government built around agriculture, roads, education, sanitation, and tourism, which has an acronym, ARREST. The opposition Unity Party political leader stated that under President George Weah, Liberia is threatened by the same factors that were used by insurgents to destroy the country during the Civil War. Joining us now to discuss the state of the nation of Liberia and his ambition to become the next president of the West African country is Joseph Nyuma Boakai, former vice president of Liberia and the presidential candidate of the Unity Party of Liberia. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on the morning show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, quickly, you've been Minister of Agriculture.
That's right.
You've been Vice President, yes. 2006 to 2018. And now you say you want to be a president. You are 78. The man that is there, George Weah, he may be in the opposition party, but he belongs to a younger generation. What is the ambition? What's the proposition? Why do you think you need to go back there to help the people of Liberia?
Well, I always say that whatever is chasing you, if it doesn't stop running, you can't stop running. Our country had not seen the kind of leadership that is needed to transform that country. And Mr. Weah is not a person to do it. We knew it, but we gave them the chance to take him. And now we know very well that it's not a test. We know for sure that Weah was not cut up for that. And so we cannot allow our country to degenerate further.
Well, how has Liberia degenerated under the leadership of President Weah? Although I understand he's been away since October watching football.
That's right.
In Qatar. But that can be the big problem. What exactly do you
And I did say that Mr. Weah's presence in the country and his absence were all the same, except that when he's absent, he takes the money away. Mr. Weah, we all know that he was not really cut up for this kind of job. Mr. Weah is doing exactly what he's cut up for. And Liberia, when we were in power, Liberia was removed from being a failed state to a country that was giving hope to the people. We put in better infrastructure. We were able to remove the stigma of a nation that was failing. And right now, you go to Liberia, people who know Liberia, the country has gone backward in every area. It's all corruption, stealing without